This short video will detail a way to use Matterport Capture app using a 360 camera mounted to a hard hat. This answers the question, is Matterport able to capture in that same workflow using a mounted camera? And this is a short video to detail that. There are different types of hard hats in industry. Any kind of hard hat will do as long as the camera can be mounted in a steady position that doesn't bounce around. So you would need to have some sort of an attachment to clip in the 360 camera. So if it's a hard hat like this, a standard hard hat, or a soft brim hat with a hard interior, I've gone ahead and mounted one unit on a different hard hat. The first thing you want to do with the hard hat is to make sure that you remove any accessories or things that might get in the way of the mounted camera. Things like this mounted headlamp. In this example, I'm going to use a Ricoh Theta V handheld 360 camera that I mounted to off-the-shelf parts, to off-the-shelf Velcro material that I mounted to the top of this hard hat. And then I put it in a longer strip so I could position it just right as I need to when I'm in the field. And the key is that this device has to be high enough off the user's head where accessories like this headlamp or the brim of the hard hat are not as much in the screen. You don't want to have the hard hat itself obscure the view when capturing. There are some considerations to keep in mind when capturing with this kind of a setup. The first is the height of the camera off of the floor. For the most part, in most use cases, this isn't a big deal. But as I walk next to a Pro 2 camera, for the most part, this is a pretty high height for a Pro 2 camera. I'm sitting about 6'2", and usually you'll capture the Pro 2 camera at the same height as a user in the field. You can see the device on my head is far higher, so much that it's about this height difference. So for most use cases, this height perspective from here to here is not as big of a problem, but that's something to consider for your output for the end user. I'll turn on the device now. I started at the camera, and now I'll connect to this device. I'm turning on Wi-Fi. Make sure to have Wi-Fi blinking first. I'm connecting the device. There it is, Theta. Password. Underside, I have to unscrew the mount to get to the password. The underside, it looks like a serial number. There are 2 letters. Disregard those 2 first letters, but use all the numbers that are listed behind it. And that's the password on the Wi-Fi to connect to this device. So I have a 00 to start. Now this camera is connecting to this iPad over Wi-Fi. I'm moving over to the Matterport Capture app. Put back the mount on this. Camera setting, Wi-Fi on, connected to the iPad. Capturing with this setup is just like this in the setup, but you are the tripod. So instead of placing the tripod down and leaving it still, you have to keep it still, okay? So I'm gonna put this over to the side. I'm gonna take my first position. Okay, here we go. I'm holding still, making sure that my head doesn't tilt at all. Just gotta make sure that you're steady. So it's beaming the information from the camera to my iPad. And there you go. I'm gonna take a couple steps closer to the camera. I can't go too far because I got this cord, should get wireless. I'll just do it this close. Remember, I'm going to keep my head steady and still. I'm not giving you middle finger. I'm just trying to hit it. Take a few steps over here. Head up, keep it level. Don't sway around, don't move around, don't talk, hold your breath. Okay, I got that second position landed. Hold my breath. I'll keep doing this for a bit. You'll see what I get. You can see though in the model that it has the brim of my hard hat in it in the 3D data, and that's because the camera was not as high as it could, but it aligned. So that means that the data did not keep it from aligning, and you can see part of the hard hat in the position, but it's aligning, and that's aligning because of the 3D data from the ceiling. It actually works very well, very quickly. You got to make sure you keep your head steady. You don't have your head sway around when you have your hard hat on. Make sure that it's on strong. I dropped this just before this. The camera seems okay. This is a Theta V, and it fell on this carpeted here. But I can tell you right now that I have a Theta Z1 that fell to the cement, and it wasn't on the hard hat. It was actually on a tripod like this, and it toppled over, and this lens glass hit cement. So this device is essentially useless for this purpose. It's heavy. So the idea of mounting it in a way that will not fall off your hard hat. I was just doing it just now, and my hard hat mount fell off because the Velcro is not strong enough. So I would attach a permanent bolt of some kind, but you also can't put holes in your hard hat. So mounting it in a way with a permanent adhesive rather than a Velcro might be a more appropriate way to have this device mounted for day-to-day usage. In summary, this setup does work quite well, but the things to keep in mind are, I would recommend attaching this in a more permanent way so the hard hat does not lose the camera mount when you're moving around the field, because these devices will break if they fall from a high enough position to the ground in a construction site. Keeping in mind that when you capture, you are doing this just like you were using a tripod like this. You are that tripod, so you need to keep steady, capture that quick snapshot, and then move to that next position. I would say 4 paces, 3 to 4 paces is a good first distance away, steps from the first position, and that would allow there to be enough overlap. Don't go too far away, but I think at first a few steps away, and then as you start to capture and get more information from that space, you're able to extend your positions from paces, from steps per position. I would also always make sure to monitor your capture app to make sure those positions are landing in the right position. That's the most important thing to have a reliable results, is to make sure that the positions that you're capturing are landing properly on the capture app. Let me know if you have any questions, and you can feel free to put them in the comments below.